Hey everybody, you're listening to a special bonus episode of Commanders Brew.
Conspiracy 2 set review.
Hey everybody, welcome to our very first bonus episode and very first ever set review.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for listening, guys. This is outside of our normal podcast release queue.
That's right.
We're going above and beyond for you guys because we don't usually fill up our regular episodes with all of our set review opinions on all the cards and mechanics because, the podcast is long enough as it is. We don't want to double the length.
It's long enough, and honestly, this set review type stuff is done all over the place by a lot of great people, and we were like, well, we don't want to saturate with, a whole episode of ours being just another set review.
True.
But what we wanted to do, however, was if some people keep asking us what we think of these cards, what we think of this, blah, blah, blah. So we said, hey, let's do a little bonus episode.
Yeah.
Right? We're not going to deprive anybody of that regular episode
No
of
deprive.
Commanders Brew. No deprivation whatsoever. Instead, it's this little bonus thing, and we don't know. It might be shorter. It might be the same length, but you can check this one out if you want to. But also, if you were like, no, I don't need to listen to that, that's fine too.
You're getting on the roller coaster with us for the very first time.
That's right.
Keep your arms and legs inside at all times and put your hat down by your feet.
Put your hat down by your feet.
Blow off.
And make sure your pockets are sealed. You don't want to be on the loop-de-loop and have all your change fall out.
Loop-de-loop.
Yeah, right?
What a fun thing to say.
You don't say loop-de-loop enough.
Loop-de-loop.
Loop-de-loop. It's just a loop. Why is it a loop-de-loop?
Usually they come in pairs.
Usually?
Old school coasters. Now what is even a loop-de-loop anymore? Because it's like a 180-degree twist, and then you turn, and then you go upside down again. It's like a simple loop.
Loop-de-twist.
Loop-de-twist. I like it.
Yeah, okay, so this is, we're doing a set review. We're doing Conspiracy 2, Take the Crown. If you've listened to our previous episode of Commanders Brew, where we brewed with Queen Marquesa and Leovold, Emissary of Trest.
Right.
We've sort of touched on those cards a little bit and some other things, but we wanted to go a little bit in deeper with different stuff that we haven't talked about, as well as just quickly touch on those two cards as well.
Sure. So if this is the only episode you're listening to, we're going to go over the commanders of the set first. The highlight commander is, I think, Queen Marquesa. She is Mardu, 1 red, white, black, legendary human assassin, 3/3. She got Death Touch and Haste. And when Queen Marchesa enters the battlefield, you become the monarch. We'll get to that in a second. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, if you are not the monarch, you put a 1/1 Death Touch assassin token creature onto the battlefield.
With haste.
With haste, too. So yeah, pretty cool. Again, we brewed a deck based on Queen Marquesa. Listen to episode 57 to learn all about that. But the Monarch, this is the only commander that can introduce the monarchy to the game.
Right. And she's pretty solid. I think this is going to be a fun commander for people to build around. It doesn't look like she's retailing for a lot right now.
Not a lot right now.
So that's good news also for us budget guys. So yeah, this will be fun, and I built a pillow fort style deck with it to sort of protect your monarch status, and these are good colors for that. Death Touch is a great ability for that.
Yeah.
So I loved it. I loved playing with her, and I loved building around it. I think it's a fun card.
We've teased it enough. We should probably just briefly say what monarchy is. If you become the monarch, you get to draw an extra card during your end step. And the monarchy can get taken away from you if anyone hits you with creature combat damage.
That's right, yeah. Combat damage only.
Making these little 1/1s when you're not at the monarch is amazing because the little 1/1 death touchers are so good at doing combat damage to people.
Yeah, that's right.
Because no one wants to block them with actual cards.
Exactly, that's right. So, and you're happy to trade off these guys you get for free, basically, to get the monarch status back and to draw an extra card. So yeah, I don't know. What we haven't even talked about this. Are we gonna give these cards ratings or whatever? Or are we just saying
I don't
like,
feel like it.
Yeah, I don't think we need to rate them.
No,
I think
I'm not
we
gonna
just
rate 'em.
have a quick chat about
Because
them.
here's the thing about rating cards. Like, I've heard people say, like, this card is good in Commander. This card's no good in Commander. It's like, man, it all
Yeah.
depends on your deck, right?
That's way too broad,
Like,
I think.
every card's good in a Commander deck.
Yeah.
Except for maybe... No, but even... I was going to say except for, like, a 2/2 bear. But if you want that bear tribal deck, a 2/2 bear is perfect.
Is what you're looking for.
Right? So, yeah. Like, we're not going
Yeah.
to say which ones are good, which ones aren't good. If there's any cards that make my mind be like, I want it in this kind of deck right away, I'll let you know.
Sure, yeah. So Queen Marquesa, I'm going to take it, right? If I see this card in draft, I'm going to take it for Commander, but also for the draft portion because I think she's going to be fun for that.
Yeah, maybe if you... I don't know if you can draft a 3-color Decans from it. We'll see.
Yeah, I hope you can.
There's Evolving Wilds and not a ton of
Really?
other...
That's it? Come on.
There's no dual lands, but I think there's a lot of ways that let you search up lands, little like vote cards. Anyway, next Commander in the set.
Next Commander, same one. We also did this one on the show.
Leovold.
Emissary of Trest.
I built this one, and I built a very mean version. So here's what he is. He's Sultai, black, blue, green, legendary elf advisor, 3/3. Each opponent can't draw more than one card each turn.
Oh,
Boom.
that doesn't sound too bad.
Also, whenever a permanent you control is targeted by a spell or ability an opponent controls, you get to draw a card.
Okay, well, that's
so
fine.
the nice way to build him is with things like Howling Mine
Yeah.
or Dictative Crufix. So
Sure.
you get to draw extra cards on your turn, but other people don't get to take that advantage.
That sounds reasonable.
The
Sure.
mean way to build him is if you include cards like Jace's Archivist or any card that has this effect. Everyone discards their hand and draws cards equal to the greatest number of cards discarded this way. Means that you discard that greatest number, but everyone else draws one.
Yeah, you draw back up the greatest number that you put down, but no one else does.
Everyone goes into immediate top deck mode.
Yeah,
It's
which
the worst.
is it really kills a game of Commander,
And
really.
even if you draw your opportunity off the top, you can cast it for 1 at the end of someone else's turn.
So if you get Leovold, Emissary of Trest on turn 3,
Yep.
and then just the card what's the card? Windfall?
Windfall costs 2 and a blue.
Yeah.
It does that effect as a sorcery.
If you had that in your opening hand or just drew it next turn, unless they had a way to kill, you have to be able to kill Leovold. Otherwise, like, you're in top deck mode for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Until someone finds a way to kill Leovold. But if the Leovold player is holding a counter spell or anything else that would stop that from happening, boy, I don't envy people in that game.
And Leovold gets to draw cards to find those counterspells
Right.
while you do not.
Yeah, exactly. And he has blue, so he can run the spells that will draw more cards. And ugh,
Do you know who's a decent foil to this, though? Is Ifara. Getting to draw a card on every player's turn. That's a way to kind of scoot under the radar
That's
there.
interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
having a Farah deck, that's fun.
Ifara versus Leovold, that would be a match.
Yeah, wow. They would both be drawing cards. It doesn't really affect Afara's game. That's cool. A lot of my cards in that deck though are just like draw stuff though, so it still does kind of affect her.
Oh man. So this I would never run a mean Leovold deck. You can hear me get really angry about it in our
Yeah.
regular episode, but I don't like playing in a way that prevents everyone from playing Magic. I like everyone to play Magic. I just want to play more Magic than everyone, but not by cutting your legs off. I just want to have bigger legs.
I think for people in those like really, really uber competitive metas, I think this is going to be a popular card.
Yeah. Yeah,
I think it's going to be a crazy deck, and it's like I think if you're going to go to GPs and stuff, and you're going to play against people who are in those pods and trying to win those pods, get those packs. I think you're going to see some Leovolds in there, man.
Yeah.
It's an efficient commander. It's a 3-mana 3/3 with an ability that just hoses everyone else's ability to play the game. Like that's what wins.
Yeah.
Also, side note, this is the first 3-mana Sultai legendary creature. So
True.
all you Tiny Leaders players out there, all 10 of you who are still playing that,
That's right.
you finally have your Sultai commander.
Great.
Yeah, so this card is good though, right? You can't deny it. It's great. And I think if you build it in a fair way that actually just doesn't just ruin the game that you're playing, I think this is an awesome commander. I love
Powerful.
it, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
And these colors too. Sultai's maybe the best color combination in Commander.
I'm torn. I like Teamer, but it's because it's got blue and green in there.
Yeah, but
and
anything
then
with
you
blue
add
and green.
like
I like Bant. I think white.
blue green plus white, blue green plus black, blue
Yeah.
green plus red.
I like the white. I like the white edition more than the black. I think white does more than black. I feel like.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, yeah. White has a lot more. White's the best
White's the,
support.
I think
color.
best. Exactly. I think white's the best support color.
So
I
you
think-
put the best
I think
support
Bant is the
color
best.
behind the best draw color and the best ramp color. There you go. You got a combo.
Exactly. Okay, so what's up next? So we talked a lot about these guys in the last episode. So let's get to the actual new ones we haven't talked about yet.
Grenzo Havoc Razor. Sorry, what's he do?
Okay, Grenzo Havoc Razor is. We did talk about him briefly because I did include him in my deck. He's a two red, so red for a 2/2, and it says whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, choose one. Goad target creature that player controls, or exile to one of the one card from that player's library until end of turn. You may cast that card, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast it.
Cool.
So what's Goad, Sean?
Goad is a new ability introduced here. When you've goaded a creature until your next turn, that creature must attack whenever possible, and they must attack a player that is not you. Right?
Player.
A player, not a planeswalker. You can't be like, I'll attack your planeswalker. No, it's got to be an actual player, and it can't be you. So goading huge bomby monsters is the best.
Yeah.
If they somehow take extra turns, they have to attack each turn, like all that stuff.
Wow, that's neat.
Yeah.
I love the goad mechanic, first of all.
I love it. I love it because it's a multiplayer game. It's one thing to make creatures attack, but they'll be like, F you, I'll attack you. But it's like, no. You can't attack me. You have to attack somebody else.
And making their utility creatures attack.
Yeah.
If they're not just able to tap them down or something is
Sure.
obviously a very good ability. However, I don't think goad is the best ability on Grenzo here.
Right.
I think, well, I mean, depends, right? Like you can build a deck either way, obviously, but I think overall that second ability is the one people are very excited about.
Yeah.
Being able to just people love being able to cast other people's stuff.
Oh, I love it.
Everyone loves it. Look how popular a card Villainous Wealth is. People really tried hard to make that a standard deck just because that card is so fun.
Yeah.
And I love that card.
And if you assume that in a game of Commander, everyone's got really good stuff in their deck, then yeah, gimme.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
Gimme.
And it's card advantage for red, which is always, red players are always looking for that. What do you think of him as a mono red commander?
I think he's great. If I were to build a mono red Grenzo Havoc Razor deck, I would want to include a lot of token generation because I want to get as many of those triggers as possible.
But once you hit one of the exile thing, like depending on your mana, you probably just pick goad for a couple of the other ones.
Okay,
right?
that's the question.
I guess if you like,
you know what? Each one resolves individually. So
Yeah.
I would probably be like, okay, I hit you with 6 tokens. Token 1 flips the top of your deck. Oh, it's a land? Cool. Token 1 also does. Token 2 also does that. Oh, that's a spell I'm going to cast for sure.
Do you have to decide though when you hit the guy? So at damage, I think is when you make all the decisions of what you're going to do.
Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, choose one.
Yeah.
Well, okay, here's
so you
where
have to choose on damage, and then when resolution happens, you don't get to choose as the triggers resolve. You have to choose if you're going to goad or flip the card on damage, right?
that seems right. I'm not 100% sure, but that seems right. So you've chosen goad.
So you don't get to go like, oh, I see that I flipped this bad card. Okay, I don't want this.
Yeah.
So next one I'll goad. Like you can't do that.
I don't think so, but I'm not. I'm like
I'm pretty
90% sure.
Yeah, me too.
There's a small
Correct us
chance
if we're
that
wrong.
it works that way. But yeah, either way, like I would probably, let's say I hit with 5 token creatures. I guess you'll know on the board if there's a really sick goad target.
Yeah.
Right? If there's a
It's very situational,
goad
but that's one of
target-
the great things about this card is if you need to goad a bunch of things, great. If you don't, then guess what? You get a bunch of cool cards. Like I think it's really
Yeah.
great. I think as a mono red though, Commander, like you're not looking at a lot of evasion, and that's what you really want with this card.
Not necessarily, though, because if I'm going to get a ton of extra card advantage, I guess I'm going to want to do a ton of ramp, and I'm going to really rely on the fact that I've got enough tokens that I can probably afford to throw a few away, or there's numerous effects that make it so ground creatures can't block this turn, so hopefully I can sneak a bunch of tokens
That's interesting.
away.
You make this kind of a, what's it called? what's the classic? It's like seismic stomp tribal.
Yeah, right. Magmatic chasm from
yeah.
Shadows over Innistrad.
Yeah, that you add up so many of those effects, and hopefully get back the card advantage you lose by being able to cast your opponent's stuff.
Yeah, once you have like a bunch of mana, you can probably like, yeah, I'll flip 6 of your cards and I'll go 3 of these guys. I spent 1 card to do it, but now I've got like some decent monsters to back them up.
I just wish it had blue in it.
All right.
I just wish it had blue so we could just have a few unblockable things. It would be so fun.
Well, Rogue's Passage.
Pay a lot for that. But yes.
Yeah, I guess that's it. There's really not a lot of equipment. There's equipment that makes creatures unblockable.
There's got you know what? There's some menace. There's some menace guys and some like intimidate in red.
Yeah,
that's true. Actually,
menace enchantments. Goblin War Drums give all your creatures menace.
Yeah.
There's that little wolf with Undying.
Yeah.
That when it attacks, it gives everyone else menace.
Menace. Yeah.
And
so you're leaning on menace and the old intimidate.
Yeah.
If you have some of those
I think you could do it for sure.
Yeah, you could probably pull it off
for sure.
And I mean, once you get larger, I mean, if you really want, you can put dragons in there for flying. But I think then then you just have huge dragons and you're just killing people. You're not really worried about goading or casting their cards. Yeah. But I love him. I think he's great. I think he's a lot of fun.
Oh, but although you saying that makes me realize that if you've goaded a creature, that makes your next attack open because all his creatures will be tapped having attacked unless they're all vigilant. So once you get one guy fully goaded, he could put one guy down maybe, and you just get in your whole team, goad his whole team again, and then
you're killing someone else by making him attack.
Yeah.
And you're also killing him by attacking him.
You do. So then person 3 can come at you. You've created a little circle there.
I like that.
Ooh, Grenzo.
And it has to be combat damage. That's important.
Has to be combat damage. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. Let's get to the next one. Our next monocolored legendary creature is mono green.
Selvala, Heart of the Wild. Selvala's coming back. 1 green for a 2/3 elf scout. Legendary, obviously. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield, draw a card. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield, its controller may draw a card if its power is greater than each other card. Wait.
You're having trouble with this one.
It moved. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield.
Oh, sorry, that was me.
Its controller may draw a card if its power is greater than each other creature's power. That is to say, so this ability works for everybody.
Everyone.
And if you make the biggest creature, not tied, it has to be the biggest on the battlefield, you get this ability. You get to draw a card. So this ability will stop fairly quickly once there's like 7 or 8 powered creatures out there because you're not going to drop one bigger than that most likely.
Right.
It also has Selvala also has the activated ability, which is bonkers. Green and tap. Add X mana in any combination of colors to your mana pool, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. What?
Yeah, that's some powerful ramp.
Right? That's crazy ramp.
Selvala gets like, oh yeah. I mean,
Selvala alone ramps for 2 at the cost of a green. So you net 1. Cool. But you're going to tell me, like, you're going to drop 4 mana. You can spend 4 mana and get, like, something that is about 5/5. I think you can get 5 power for 4 mana in green.
Yeah, there's that Baloth. Is it Baloth Woodcrasher or something like that? Or some sort of Baloth. Some manner of Baloth is like.
Right. So you've got 4 power. You've got 5 power on the board. So you tap 1 for it. So you net 4. You've got at least 4 mana. So now you're casting an 8-drop with like 8 power or more. Next turn, you've got all the mana in the world.
Yeah.
You're fine for mana.
It's a really good and fun like ramp mono green stompy type of commander.
So stompy.
Very, very stompy. So obviously, yeah, you're going to put huge creatures in here and you're going to benefit from them. You're going to ramp it up.
And the beauty of it is...
You're going to play this with, what's his face? The guy who you saw in the Wanderer Bard. I think you're going to probably want to play him with. Yeah. Seems like a nice combo.
And the great thing about that first ability is, yes, it applies to everybody, but once you've ramped out like an 8-drop on turn 4, very few people are going to get that ability over you.
Exactly.
You're going to give very few people those extra cards.
And you're mono green, so you probably have just the biggest things anyways. And
yeah, like just like 8/8s and up.
And if you're playing Hydras, I mean, maybe you don't even actually
You chain the Hydras.
Yeah, you chain the Hydras. You don't actually stop getting the card advantage from them. That's interesting.
Okay, so you take that 8 mana plus the 4 on the board, and you make a 12/12 Hydra. Next turn, you put 12 in your mana pool plus the 5 on the board. Now you make a 17/17 Hydra. Next Hydra is exponentially bigger.
That's awesome.
Ooh-wee.
That's pretty great. Like there's a new Hydra commander in town. Maybe
Selvala's for sure a Hydra commander.
I think this is a great creature. I just wish I don't like that they went away from the dual colors again.
Colors. I know. Don't you want red with this?
I would love this to be a red-green commander. I would love it to be, I mean, even, I don't know. It could be anything. Green anything. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care.
Green-white. She was
Just
green-white before.
Give
That's
me more
fine,
X
too.
spells. Give me more X spells.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe that's why they didn't. I don't know. But also, I mean, same thing with Grenzo. Like, you add another color in there for Grenzo. Even black would have been keep them in those colors.
Yeah.
I am a little disappointed in that. That's the only thing I'll say that I am disappointed in these two creatures, that I wish they were not just monocolored.
That's the only disappointing thing in Commander in general, is when you're like, man, this commander will never see this beautiful card that I love in another color, right?
I mean, unless obviously it's a 99, but then it's not reliable, right?
Yeah.
But I do think these are both awesome cards in 99 for sure.
For sure.
In just about any deck that wants to run them, really.
Yeah, if you've already got a unblockable thing going on with red, you're throwing in Grenzo.
Yeah.
If you love ramp
Yeah.
and you've got green in your deck, throw Selvala in. Like, would you throw Selvala in any deck with green in it?
Pretty much. I mean, you might end up giving away a lot of card advantage to other players, which isn't great. But at the same time, you are gaining so much mana from it. It feels like you're getting ahead on the whole deal.
So much mana.
So yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Selvalla's great. We like it.
Brand
Like it a
new
bunch.
character.
Yeah. Here she is. Adriana, Captain of the Guard. 3 red, white for a 4/4. Legendary human knight with melee. New ability. What's melee, you ask? Well, whenever this creature attacks, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each opponent you attacked with a creature this combat. So
You're going to have at least one opponent you've attacked.
yeah,
So every melee creature on attacking gets at least +1/+1
right,
because you're attacking minimum one opponent.
right. And obviously melee wants you to spread that around to get an even bigger bonus. And she also has the ability of other creatures you control have melee. If a creature has multiple instances of melee, each triggers separately.
Right.
I know. So it stacks.
Yeah. So as far as I know, Adriana is the only card that can give something else melee. As far as I know, I didn't look too closely. There might be an artifact that does it or something.
I think you're right.
But so if a creature has native melee and then Adriana comes along, they have double melee. So they get +2/+2 for each person you attack.
Yeah, I think you know, as far as Boros commanders go, this one is the same.
Or is it?
Hang on, it's the same on the surface, but actually it's kind of like you want to spread around the damage as opposed to focusing on one person with your attacks.
Yes.
The problem with that is, though, it's still just about putting creatures out in it and just attacking.
Yeah.
That's the issue people have with these Boros commanders. Isn't so much that like, oh, I get to attack in a different way, because you had that angel. What's her name?
Oh, from the precon.
Yeah.
Anya?
Yeah, Anya, who wanted you to same thing, spread around the damage.
Because with Anya, if a player was at half or less, she got a huge bonus plus indestructibility.
Exactly, right. And like +4/+4 for each person below it or something.
Yeah.
So she wanted you to spread that around. So those two cards would go well together. Anya and Adriana seem to go together pretty well. But, I mean, if you want to do anything else in red-white, you can't, really. It's all about attacking. It's all about, I don't know, just attacking as many people now as much as possible, you know?
Yeah.
Which isn't even a good. It's like, hey, you know the strategy that isn't even really that good in Commander? Here, make it worse now. So now you can't even focus on someone. Now you've got to attack everyone at once.
Yeah, you've got to make everyone your enemy.
Which stinks.
Which does stink.
That's not good.
Yeah, this is a tough one for me. I mean, we now have a definitive card if we're doing a Game of Thrones deck, that will be Brienne of Tarth for sure.
That's
Like,
one good thing.
Undisputable Brienne of Tarth.
Yeah, you before the spoilers came, or no, before I saw this spoiler, you mentioned to me like, oh yeah, there's that other commander, Brienne of Tarth. I'm like, well, that's not the name of it.
no, it might
I
as
had
well
no
be
idea
though.
what you're talking about, but yeah, okay, Brienne of Tarth.
Like,
oh yeah, she
it
does
even-
look like that.
Like the art is even the face is like similar. She's looking down, so like there could be.
It makes her look taller, but maybe she is super tall.
I have to assume any like Boros soldiers are super. They're very like genetically gifted, male or female. I assume that like
Yeah, they're. I mean, maybe there's some Simic influence on them. Maybe they've been
sure. That's just a lifetime
DNA
of like
altered.
hard training and meat and potatoes.
Yeah, I mean, what do we have here though? Sort of looking at the card though, it's a 4-mana 5/5 that attacks as a 5/5 at least.
It's a 4/4 on board, 5/5.
So is
attacking.
this better to go like even more of a classic Boros route and go support her with tokens and expendable creatures, and then just have her be a big sort of Voltron style?
I mean,
Yeah, sure, right.
she is
Wake me up when we're done talking about this.
yeah, right? So like you could just run like an anthem where all your creatures get +1/+1 as an enchantment. That's sort of what she does. So if you're like jam packed with those in your red white deck and you want another one, this is effectively another anthem.
But it's a 5-mana anthem.
Yeah, man.
Although I
I'm
guess
just
it's
trying to think
everyone
of it.
everyone gets melee, so it's actually like if you had, let's say you're in a 5-player game and you got her +4 things, you'd get +4. Everyone gets +4/+4, but they get +4/+4 on top of each other, right?
No, but
that not how it works?
each creature would have melee once.
Right.
So when it attacks,
It's only for itself.
Yeah.
Right, sorry, it doesn't boost it.
Not
So it's
like-
not really like a
it's not like exalted.
she's it. I see what you mean. Yeah, okay. That
Th-
would be
she would
no,
be
that would be good.
She would be amazing if she wasn't legendary and you could copy her. Because then
Yes.
everyone gets double melee or triple
Yeah.
melee. That's where this gets good.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, Boros. Oh, it's tough,
Here's the
man.
thing though. What do people like what could they make a Boros commander do that would please people?
Do we have enough time on this podcast?
I don't know. I don't
Like, think we do.
What I think is I think they printed a great Boros commander, and I actually wrote this in an article on Brainstorm Brewery. I just can't remember the name of it now though. It's that creature from Fate Reforged where you can copy
Boros Reckoner?
No. Where you can copy no, it gives your instants and sorceries buyback.
Yeah.
Maybe it's only your instance, whatever. But then it also gives them lifelink.
Yes. This is is he not
What's that?
Dragons of Tarkir or Cons of
No,
Tarkir?
it's Fate Reforged.
Fate Reforged, yeah, okay.
It's one of those ones where they printed. It's like a white creature, but then it has the
Yeah.
hybrid mana symbols.
Yeah.
So it's actually like Jeskai colored in real life. But if you made a Boros commander that did those things, I think that would please people because that gives people a reason to play burn spells,
Yeah.
right?
A sick
is
Boros
a
commander.
classic thing that's not good in commander.
Yeah, a sick Boros commander would I would insist that it did something with my red or with any instants or sorceries I cast. But
Yeah.
then people are going to be like, well, that should be blue because it deals with instants and sorceries.
I disagree.
I don't know.
Blue doesn't have the monopoly on instants and sorceries.
What about this?
Red is also very instants and sorcery related.
What about this? A commander that says all of your... I mean, I guess you had it. Like, just give all your instants and sorceries... All your instants and sorceries do double damage. So it automatically only affects ones that do damage.
Right.
Like this lifelink thing. It only affects ones that do damage.
Yeah, they don't even need to say that because obviously,
Yeah.
because it's the only one that does damage.
Yeah, okay.
I think you mentioned Boros Reckoner. Like, what about a commander that does that, where when it's dealt damage, it can deal damage to creatures or players or something? Like,
Yeah.
those creatures are always so troublesome to get rid of in a game of Magic. Well, imagine if it's your commander. Like, I bet you there's some really neat combos you could do with
Yeah,
some spells like that, right?
For sure.
A red-white commander, that would be perfect for that.
Well, if you love Boros decks as they are, I think she's a fine addition to it. If you're already frustrated that Boros commanders are too repetitive, I'm afraid you'll still be frustrated.
Yeah, your frustration is not coming to a close with this set, unfortunately. But
Those are all the new
yeah.
commanders in the set. Those are the new legendaries. Let's move on to some of the new mechanics and just talk about how they will affect games of Commander outside of the conspiracy environment.
Sure.
We touched on already the idea of monarchy, the monarchy. So, yes, as we said, if you are the monarch, you draw an extra you draw an extra card during your end step, and you lose the monarchy. That is to say, someone else gains the monarchy when they deal combat damage to you, or you play one of these icebreaker monarch cards. This is an example of one keeper of keys, 3 blue for a 4/4 human rogue mutant. It's a lot of types.
That's good, yeah.
When Keeper of Keys enters the battlefield, you become the monarch. Great. Also good if you got a blinky deck, you can just blink him back in and become the monarch at instant speed. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you're the monarch, creatures you control can't be blocked this turn. So here's a card that gives you the monarchy, and I'm going to assume that if you want this effect, you're also running a deck that has a lot of unblockability effects going on. So it'll be easier for you to take back the monarchy.
Right.
Because your stuff's going to be unblockable when you are not the monarch. When you are the monarch, unblockable
It's
for
double
days.
unblockable?
Yeah. So Queen Marquesa gives you the monarchy. But so the monarchy exists in a game of Commander when someone plays a card like this or Marquesa. Up until that point, there is no monarch.
Yeah, I was confused about this when I first read about the rules. I was like, oh, the monarch, like, okay, like, that's a special rule you have to play. You decide to play within your playgroup. That's a conspiracy only rule, kind of like how
like a house rule.
Yeah, and like kind of how like the draft only cards are like, well, these cards only do stuff when there's a draft. I was like, oh, these monarchy cards only do stuff in conspiracy,
right?
Or if you decide to play commander with monarch. That's not the case. If you're playing legacy and you play this card, which is the only other format it's legal in, there's a monarch now in this legacy game. You're 1v1 whatever. So you don't have a choice if someone brings one of these to the table and there's a monarch.
There's a monarch. And I think it's fascinating because it will absolutely change how teaming up goes. Because if someone's the monarch and they got a kind of a pillow 40 deck, you'll be like, man, we can't let this guy be the monarch the whole time. We got to team up against this guy. Fine. But, like, which person does the combat damage?
Yeah,
because
exactly.
now that person's the monarch.
Who gets to be the monarch and who's okay with that?
Right? Because the table, I don't think the table will ever agree upon who is okay to be the monarch.
No,
like,
yeah.
We'll just let this person be the monarch. Like, it's nuts. It's gonna shake up unions of teams. It's gonna, like, just drive it crazy. I love it. I love it. One rules detail about the monarchy. Once a monarch is introduced, it can never disappear. If the person who is the monarch leaves the game, either because they die or because they just concede and walk off, or concede and stick around and hang out, you don't have to walk away. But if the person who is the monarch is no longer in the game, the monarchy passes to whoever is the active player. So if I kill the monarch on my turn through spell damage, I am the monarch. If I am the monarch and I concede, because I know this game's done, whoever has the next turn becomes the monarch. The monarchy never leaves, and there is no way to take it out of the game.
There is one way.
There is one way? Someone winning?
No. There's one way to take... It's the same way you get rid of a Planeswalker's emblem.
Reset the game.
Reset
Karn.
the game with Karn.
Yes.
With Karn's ultimate ability.
Yeah,
That's the only way in Magic to get rid of emblems.
Yes,
and
right.
the monarchy is an emblem, so yeah.
Cool.
There you go.
Man, what a fascinating mechanic. I cannot wait to play some Commander games with the monarchy in it.
I know. I'm like...
I've already got a deck that...
I'm interested to see what it does.
One of my existing decks, I want lots of monarch effects into it. I'm not going to say what it is right now because I want to surprise y'all with it. I want to surprise Andy with it. Okay. And then once I've played it a couple times in my play group, then I'll talk about it from the mountaintops.
Cool. Okay, so yeah, Monarch, the jury is out. We'll see.
Oh, here's
a lot of attacking. We know that much.
Here's an etiquette question. I personally believe that if you play cards like Beast Within, for example, that turn a creature into a 3/3 beast, you should bring a beast token to let that player use in place of it. If you introduce the monarchy, should you bring a little tiny crown to wear whenever you're the monarch?
I think you should.
If so, what do you use?
Why does it have to be a tiny crown? Why can't it be?
It could be a huge crown. It could be a 10-gallon cowboy hat.
I mean, in real life, we're going to have the emblem card, I'd imagine.
Oh, no, but I want
but you want an actual hat.
I want a hat.
Then yes, you definitely have to bring it.
Like hat. A Blue Jays cap. A a little prop
Does this
crown.
mean I'm the monarch right now?
If
'Cause
we
I'm
were
wearing
playing
a
it,
Blue
yeah,
Jays
you would
hat?
be. And if I did combat damage to you,
have to
I would
wear
have to wear that hat.
This hat, the stinky hat I've been wearing all day.
Yeah. Oh, do you bring a stinky, stinky hat so that
So people don't want to be the
people
monarch.
don't want to take the monarchy away from you? I don't know. That's just an etiquette question. It has no bearing on the rules, but that's how I like to play.
I think definitely bring your stinky hats to Commander from here on out.
Yeah.
We talked about this one already. We talked about oh no, this is just another monarch card.
It's another icebreaker on monarch card. So here's another card that Andy featured this in our episode. This is another card that I would be willing to bring into a deck to introduce the monarchy because I think it's got a good enough ability.
Skyline Despot. Yeah, it's a great one. 7 mana, 5/5 dragon. When at the beginning of the upkeep for the monarch, you could put a 5/5 dragon out, and also it has the icebreaker text of you become the monarch. So that's he's a good one. He was the best one in my deck. I'm pretty sure. So I was happy with that. Yeah.
And so there's one more mechanic that we haven't talked about yet, and here's a new card that deals with it. It's called Council's Dilemma. So you recall from the first conspiracy there was votes, and whatever vote won the most or tied, something would happen. They always had cool effects like vote for pain or relief and things like that. So now, but instead
that was the Tylenol vote. Pain or relief.
So that was council's judgment. This is now the council's dilemma. It's like the council's shaken up and they don't know what to vote anymore. So now everyone takes a vote, but now every vote does something.
Yeah, like it doesn't pass it doesn't like say one thing happens or another thing happens. Like you vote.
Yeah, if there's 5 votes, does 5 of this thing happen?
Exactly.
Or 5 of this thing, or a combination.
Exactly.
This is the craziest card I think that has that on it. Oh man. It's called Selvala's Stampede. 4 green. Council's Dilemma. Starting with you, each player votes for wild or free. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card for each wild vote. Put those creature cards onto the battlefield all at the same time. So you get to manage those triggers if it matters. You may... Right, and so then these happen in order. So after you do that, then you will put a permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield for each free vote. This is like tooth and nail and nail. That's my what I'm calling it. Tooth and nail lets you search for a creature, put it into your hand, and then put it into the battlefield. But that costs a ton of mana with Entwine to do one creature. Granted, it's any creature. That's huge.
You get 2 creatures.
Oh, sorry, that's right. You get
Tooth
2
and nail.
creatures.
Yeah.
Okay, but here you're going to get more.
Are you?
6
or is
mana.
everyone just going to vote put creatures from your hand out when you only have like
Oh, that's
4
true.
cards?
If you only have 4, but it's permanents from your hand, not just creatures.
Okay, so you can put lands out and stuff, I guess.
Okay, maybe not tooth and nail, but still bonkers good. Like
Still neat. Still very neat, for sure. And if you can just get... I mean, if you want... You're going to play this... Obviously, it's in green, so you're going to play this in a... I would assume a sort of rampy style deck with big creatures, like we were talking about Selvala.
yeah,
So you just play this at the time when you have some great creatures in your hand, maybe.
yeah.
And maybe you get to put them out for free, or maybe you get to search for even more and still play it with your mana next turn, or if you got some left over for now. Here's my thing though: Council's Dilemma is everyone's going to discuss what's the best thing.
Yes.
So it's another one of those things where it's like you're never going to get the one you want.
You'll get one of the one you want because you get a vote.
Oh, you get a vote, right? I didn't think of that.
So like if I've got a Terrastodon in my hand,
You're saying
this is basically
yeah.
6 mana cast anything in your hand.
okay,
Right?
Yeah,
That's
you're right. I
basically what it is.
totally forgot about your own vote.
Yeah.
And the voting starts with you, right?
Starts with you. So everyone will know. So like they could dogpile on. So if you pick your hand, they could be like, okay, everyone pick their hand. Hopefully they'll run out of good stuff.
Yeah.
But like,
But no
even
one's
if-
going to be like search, put out, search, put out. Like no one's going to do that.
I don't think so.
Because that's what do you mean? Of course not. That would be death for them, obviously.
Yeah. So okay. So if you cast if you cast Selvala Stampede on, and I'm at the table.
Yeah.
And I'm your opponent. Here's what I'm thinking. I want to look at how many cards are in your hand.
Yeah.
If you have tons, I'm just going off the top
Yeah.
because this gives you too much selection otherwise.
Yeah. Oh, right. So also, I was under the impression it was like search for a card and put it out. No, it's you just flip until you get one.
Yeah, until you get one.
Right.
So you could whiff you can't whiff
It's flip
literally.
until you get a creature. It's not a permanent, right?
Right. Flip until you get a creature. So you could get a little like Mana Dork or a little like, Sakura Tribe Builder.
I think
for
I'm
sure.
always picking put stuff from your hand out.
But What if he
Because
has 10 cards in his hand?
Okay, well, you're right.
Right,
That's
where is that
bit
line?
of yeah. I think when you have any sort of reasonable hand between 4 and 7 cards, I'm still picking probably put stuff out.
Either way, I'm going to love the look on everyone's face when I cast this. Because there's no good answer.
Yeah, there's no good answer.
There's no good answer.
That's a good design.
You're gonna get
That's very good design.
you're gonna get like 20 mana worth of creatures onto the board, probably, no matter what happens.
Yeah.
I love it.
All right, let's get going on this next one.
Okay, this is a cool. So now we're in a category of just cool new cards that we are excited about for Commander games. This is an uncommon. Why don't you read this one?
Sure. This one's called Spectral Grasp. It's 1 and a white for an enchantment, an aura. It says, enchanted creature can't attack you or a planeswalker you control, and enchanted creature can't block creatures you control.
Pretty neat.
It's just pacifism, but only for you.
Only for you. So the creature can still attack, the creature can still block, but just not you.
Nothing. So this is I should have put this in my Marchesa deck. Would have been great. Attack everyone else. Go nuts all day long.
Go nuts. Just don't touch me. I mean, if they have a sack outlet, they just sack it and it goes away. So I mean,
if they really want to, but do they even do that? Because it can still block
true.
3 other, or whatever, however many other players. I don't think you do that.
Like you throw this on a Grave Titan, I guarantee that Grave Titan's going to keep attacking.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But like not you.
All
just
its
not
little
you.
zombies can come after you.
That's true. Okay, that's a workaround. Okay, Grave Titan, not. But like, I just love this kind of effect in a multiplayer game. It makes it so interesting.
Yeah, it reminds me of those the vow auras, vow of whatever.
Yeah.
But there's a whole cycle of them in
Yeah,
Commander.
Vow of Flight. Give a creature 2/2/2 and flying, but they can't attack you or a planeswalker you control.
Yeah.
But they could always block you.
Yep, that's true. They could block you, yeah.
These
And
guys
the white one
can't.
gives vigilance and the black one gives intimidate. Those ones are like,
I have run them.
yeah, I never have, and I even took them out of the pre-con that they came in. But that was just for that deck, right? Like, I think they're actually decent, and I did have them in that Marchesa deck. So I think this is fun. Like, I think it's a specific brew that wants it,
Yeah.
right? Like, I think otherwise you probably would just rather have some sort of actual removal spell.
This is my kind of card.
But I do think it's neat. I think it's cool. What else we got here?
Ooh, Expropriate. This is another Council's Dilemma one. I don't know. This is a corner one. I'm excited about the card, but I don't know how good it is. 7 blue sorcery. Council's Dilemma. Starting with you, each player votes for time or money. For each time vote, take an extra turn after this one. For each money vote, choose a permanent owned by the voter and gain control of it. Exile Expropriate.
So you're definitely taking, like you said, an extra turn with it.
Because that's what you're going to vote.
Because you're going to vote for that. Because you're not going to try and take something from yourself.
Yeah.
So you definitely get an extra turn for 9 mana.
Yeah.
And then maybe a bunch of free stuff
Or
or
guarantee
even more
a bunch
turns.
Right, that's the thing, right? Like,
But once, it's weird, right? Like once someone, do you give someone like 5 turns in a row? That's probably just lets them win, right?
probably you can't do
So then
it.
you just got to give them your stuff.
But they get it for you their next turn to attack with it.
Yeah, I know.
Right? It's crazy.
9 mana is a lot, but I like it.
I like it. I mean, the decks that are going to want this for sure are any like Jaleva is going to want this for sure. Right?
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Any mana, it's like Mizzix eats this kind of card for breakfast, right?
Yes,
like
loves it. Cast it for 2.
Cast it for 2?
Oh,
Come
man.
on, man.
Come on.
Yeah, any deck that has like ways to cheat spells is going to love this
Yeah,
card.
big time.
If your deck is into copying spells, this is a juicy target.
Yeah. This is a big card.
It's a big card.
I
Yeah.
saw it and I was like, "Oh, this is pretty good." It's like, "Oh no, you're gonna see this card a bunch, I think."
Yeah.
And it's like pretty much only good in Commander, so that's kind of good.
It's good for us.
Other places probably won't be playing it.
Keep it cheap.
Next, another one we're excited about, Stunt Double. This is just Clone with Flash.
Literally.
It's the same card, effectively, and it's just that it has Flash now. So Clone is now has Flash.
Replace all your clones with stunt doubles.
Yeah, simple as that. Do you think the clone has been reprinted into the ground? It's a 25-cent card, basically. It's a rare in every set it's in, though. But this one's not going to be as cheap. Like, this will be $1 or $2, maybe.
Well, here's where I'm going to get. I think it's pre-ordering for. I forget. I don't know. It's pre-ordering for like a.
Oh, it's pre-ordering for $1. Never mind.
Pre-ordering for $1, but I think it would be wise to just scoop, like, even if this drops by a quarter, it goes to 75. Even if it stays $1 after this set gets cracked like crazy, I think it would behoove you to buy like 8 copies of it, because every blue deck you have that wants a clone, which is most of them, it's a great card to have, will want this instead.
Yeah,
and they're not going to reprint this one to the ground like they did clone. So this will go up in price over time.
Yeah, it's gonna be a while, I would say, just because.
Sure, but it's gonna suck in 2 years when you're like, oh, I would love to add a stunt double, $3.
I think that's gonna take a long time. So I think you're right, but I think you have time. I mean, we're not finance guys, but
no.
It is a rare, and this set will be printed a lot, and
people are going to open a lot of this set.
Yeah, I guess we'll probably talk about it when we get to the more expensive cards, but this set is going to drive prices down for sure, just because of the way they're doing it. It's an unlimited print run. It's being like aggressively sold at Target and Walmart, so you can always get packs for MSRP from those stores. So that'll keep the stores at LGS's. That'll keep the prices down there. Yeah. Anyways, cool. What's another one? Ooh, yeah, I'm excited about this one.
Yeah, read it.
Subterranean Tremors. It's X and a red for a sorcery that says Subterranean Tremors deals X damage to each creature without flying. If X is 4 or more, destroy all artifacts. If X is 8 or more, put an 8/8 red lizard creature token onto the battlefield. So here's the thing. I don't like the cards that just do X damage to things on the ground, because so often you're like, I need to kill this big flying thing or I'm dead. And then you get this card and you're like, Fireball would have just been better, right?
Yeah.
But you can't deny that this card is now just better than what's it called?
Vandal Blast.
Vandal Blast.
Vandal Blast.
This card is now Vandal Blast.
Costs the same.
Yep.
If X equals 4.
Yeah. Well, and I think the Overload and Vandal Blast, you need like 2 or 3 red too, right? Like
no, just 1 red.
Is it just one red?
Red and 4.
Oh, I'm thinking of something else.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm thinking of Street Spasm, the other one that's like this.
No, Mizium Mortars.
Maybe, yeah. So, yeah, and then like also the giant lizard. First of all, is cool. Second of all, you spent 8 mana on this thing, so you spent 9 mana. You've destroyed all the artifacts. You've destroyed every creature on the ground, probably. And now you have a giant 8/8 lizard. Like, wow, that's a lot of stuff you just did.
Yeah, I hope
with one card.
I hope you don't have a lot of tokens on the battlefield and a lot of little artifacty things.
Of course, yeah. You're probably not putting this. Although, you know what? I'm not so unhappy to put this in my Duretti Artifacts deck, because it's a graveyard recursion artifacts thing.
Put all those artifacts in the graveyard so I can suck them back out.
Exactly, yeah. So, wow, yeah. Subterranean Tremors is neat.
Neat card.
And, Sean and X-Spells, he loves them.
I love X-Spells.
This is huge.
I love them. Okay, so those are all the cards that are new that we're excited to add, that are like brand new additions to this
never
set.
been printed before.
We're going to talk now about some reprints that are currently expensive, but as soon as this set drops and gets cracked open, these cards are going to go back into our budget range.
Yeah, and we're talking about cards that are around $5 or higher. Stuff that, you don't really, like, oh, man, I got to buy this for $5. I got to buy this for $6. It's not really worth that.
We've also included a couple cards that are sort of staple-y cards that are pushing $1 or $2 that are like, why is this $2?
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. First among those, we mentioned it on the show on episode 57, Ghostly Prison.
Yeah, we go into detail about our, like, what
the reasons for why this card, we know this card's gonna drop, right?
Ghostly Prison, 2 and a white enchantment. Creatures can't attack you unless their controller pays 2 for each creature he or she controls that's attacking you. So great. This is sort of like propaganda, right? It is
propaganda.
It is propaganda in white. You would have had to pay $10 for this card a month ago
You would have had to pay $7 for it yesterday, and now I see that it's selling for just under $5.
The pre-order of the conspiracy version is under $5.
It's under $5. Yeah.
Yeah. Before conspiracy was spoiled, you would have had to pay about $10 for this.
And it is my firm belief that this card will drop even farther. There's no
no
way
doubt.
it even stays at 5.
No doubt.
No way.
You could pick this up for $2 or $3.
This is an uncommon, again, in a set that's with an unlimited print run that's sold at major big box
that
department
people
stores.
are gonna crack because there's crazy value in it.
There is good value in it, and I mean the value will quickly drop because of the same reasons.
We like that.
But the cards that are good, people still gonna want them, right? People
Yeah.
gonna want their Inquisition of Kozilek and their show and tells and so on. So I think Wizards really hit it out of the park for us, anyways. Some people are
man.
probably a little upset about some of this.
For
I
two
guess, but-
reasons. For us, for bringing the prices down, and for those of us, I love Commander, and I love drafting.
Yeah.
And this is the
the
sweet
marriage,
spot,
yeah.
right
Yeah.
between the two. Oh my goodness, I could not be happier.
Right. So Ghostly Prison's going to come down. I would assume even less than what it is right now, which is pre-ordering for $5. So
Yeah.
definitely, that's great for those of us who never got one because they were they were $10 or whatever.
Here's another one.
Here's another one.
BOP, Birds of Paradise.
Bachelor of Paradise.
Bachelor of Paradise. Yeah, again, this card was up to $10 before anything was spoiled for conspiracy, and now you can pre-order it for way less. I didn't see what that was.
It was $5, but same
drop.
thing. Now this is a rare. Whereas Ghostly Prison's an uncommon. This is a rare. Still going to be dropping, and but however, Birds of Paradise is a card that's shrugged off a lot of reprints.
Yes.
In the past. So this one might not drop quite as much.
Or if it does drop, we know it's going to get back up there.
Well, it already has dropped, right? The
Yes.
pre-orders for $5, so we're seeing that's the price now.
But it
of
can
Birds of
be
Paradise.
safe to assume it's going to go back up to about 10.
Exactly.
So
So,
get them.
do you get them at 5?
Yes.
Do you wait for a little bit?
I think you
I think
do.
it has potential to drop even a bit farther and then
I
come
see.
back up.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I'm saying. Yeah.
Will it drop more? Yeah, I think it will drop a little bit more. But man, grab a bunch.
Yeah. Sure.
If the only reason you wouldn't want this as a mana dork is if you wanted pure elf tribal, but this
Yeah.
is the best mana dork that there is,
Yep.
unless you need
One
it to be an
green,
elf.
tap it for anything.
Yeah.
It's flying. It even doesn't get hit by subterranean tremors. So that's nice.
Right. You can even put equipment on it and make it a wicked attack.
That's right. There you go. Another nice reprint that I'm very happy to see. Platinum Angel.
Ooh.
It's Commander staple, really. 7 colorless for an artifact Angel creature, 4/4 flying. You can't lose the game, and your opponents can't win the game.
Ooh.
It's great. It's so fun. How many times have you been playing Commander and someone has their Platinum Angel and they're at minus 40 life?
I love it.
Or minus 10 life or something, and you're just like, oh, if I just get that Platinum Angel. But it gives you a few extra turns at the end of the game sometimes when you'd otherwise be gone, and gives you a chance to come back. I love it.
And if you can put something like Whisper Silk Cloak on a Platinum Angel,
It's tough to kill.
you know what? This was reprinted in an M set.
Yeah,
maybe
it was
M11
M11
or 12 or
I think
something.
it's 11 or 12.
I
yeah.
drafted that format, got a Platinum Angel and a Whisper Silk Cloak,
Oh, nice.
and I lived the dream of equipping it to my Platinum Angel, and my opponent took another turn, and I asked him, do you have anything that's going to be able to destroy artifacts? Because if you can't destroy this Whisper Silk Cloak,
Yeah.
you will never be able to get rid of this Platinum Angel, because I'm not going to attack or block with it.
Yeah, do you have a Wrath or something that destroys?
Yeah. Because if you don't, we will both run out of cards in our library, and I won't lose because of it. And you will.
That's true. You won't lose.
I will not
Wow,
lose.
that guy's hope then is to go to time with you and draw, maybe, I guess.
Oh, I get, but after I explained that to him, he's like, oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, let's go to game 3.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Save the time.
Save the time.
But this is a great card. It's awesome.
I also love having Platinum Angel and being in negative life for the visual of when someone destroys it, imagine the Planeswalker wizard standing on a mountain.
And sucks in on him. 'Cause
Yeah,
he's already dead.
He should be dead, but just time and energy just get ripped from it. It's a cool image, yeah.
That's cool, man. So if you like imagery, you're creating your own imagery. Platinum Angel's great for that. $10, right? $10 card, and now same thing, pre-ordering for just under $5.
Yeah.
That's exciting. But that one's a mythic, so that one price, I'm more unsure about. I don't know enough about that.
It will drop.
It will drop for sure. I mean, again,
Everything
it already has,
drops.
but
Yeah.
will it drop further than that? It probably will. Another one we have here. We just saw this one in
In the precons.
yeah, in the Commander
in the
pre-constructed
Golgari.
decks.
Was it Golgari? No, it was the enchantment one. The Orzhov one.
Yeah, it was in the Daxos.
Phyrexian Arena, 1 black enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. Despite being in a precon, this is still back up to $8 prior to the spoiling of this set.
Yeah.
So again, this is going to come way back within our budget range.
Yeah, it's definitely going to, but I don't think you'll really see it below like what it's pre-selling for. I really don't. $3 maybe seems like the lowest. Maybe 2. It's pre-selling for 4 on Channel Fireball, but this is a card that every black deck wants it, and every Commander player, if they don't already have it, they will go get it.
Yeah,
And that's myself included.
Yeah.
You know, people are going to crack these and keep them. They're not really going to sell them as much. I don't think.
You're probably right.
Because the limited players don't care about it, but us Commander players want it so bad.
Well, this is how you do it, right? So when we're EDH players, if we draft Inquisition of Kozilek, we put that in our trade binder, and then we run into the conspiracy player who only plays standard and modern and things like that.
Yeah.
And we'd be like, oh, I got this
Yeah,
Inquisition
yeah.
of Kozilek. give me a few Phyrexian Arenas for
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
No problem.
It's the way to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, don't need to say too much about Phyrexian Arena. It's a black staple. It's
Gonna get
excellent
cheaper.
card. It's gonna get cheaper, so we're happy about it. Another one.
This one snuck up on price.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't even know this card was expensive.
Kami of the Crescent Moon, blue.
It's not anymore. I'll tell you that much.
It's a 1/3 spirit. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player draws an additional card. This card, again before spoilers, was up to $6.
Wow, now it's down to 79 cents.
Yeah, man. Cool.
Great.
Reprints galore. I don't think that'll go much higher. It won't go back to 6, but
I doubt it now. Yeah,
But yeah, man, grab a few copies. It's amazing.
it's a decent card. It's a little Howling Mine on a little dude.
On a stick.
Goes in a lot of cool decks. Nekusar really likes it. Another one, Horn of Greed. This one, same thing, was up around $5 or $6, and I think a lot of that had to do with the recent it's resurgence of land-based decks in Commander with the Gitrog monster and stuff. It's a 3-mana artifact that says whenever a player plays a land, that player draws a card.
Works for everybody,
Works for everyone.
but presumably you've got a deck that takes best advantage of it.
Yeah, exactly. Another card that works in Nekusar, actually. So that probably was a little bit responsible.
yeah.
But it's down to now just to a little over $2. So grab them if you got it for your land decks.
Yeah.
You
love these kind of cards.
Desertion?
You were the first person on our podcast to brew with this effect in mind.
Yeah, Desertion. I used it in my Afara deck. That's how I kind of found out about it. But it's just it's a counterspell. It's a 5-mana counterspell. Why is that expensive? Why was it expensive? Well, because of this. If an artifact or creature spell is countered this way, put that card onto the battlefield under your control instead of into its owner's graveyard.
Wow.
So it does creatures and artifacts, which is really good.
Yeah.
Really, really good. And it comes up a lot in Commander, and you're
my
happy to keep
goodness.
that 5-mana open.
So this is a spell that I don't think about as a counterspell per se.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not waiting to counter a thing that's going to stop me from winning. I'm just waiting to steal something good.
I've definitely countered things with Desertion that I've countered insurrections and stuff like that.
Oh, sure.
That's the great thing about it. It is just a counterspell, but if it's a creature or artifact, you get it.
Yeah.
So it's it works even if you're in that desperate situation where you're about to lose and you just need to stop something.
Yeah, and that used to be $5. Got up to $5.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. And I did unhappily pay that much for it. Finally,
Footsteps.
how did this card get expensive, right?
I don't know.
It's the 3-mana enchantment, followed footsteps. Enchant a creature at the beginning of your upkeep. You put a token that's a copy of enchanted creature onto the battlefield.
Yeah. Every upkeep, you get another one of it.
At the beginning of your upkeep, yeah. You
Sure,
get one.
yeah, I should
So,
clarify.
Here's the thing. I don't even think this is that good for Commander.
It does take a whole turn for you to get any benefit from
Yeah.
it. People can kill your creature, kill the enchantment, so it's very possible you get no benefit from this.
And you're going to put it on something that has a great enter the battlefield ability, probably, right?
Yeah.
It goes in that style of deck. So people aren't going to just let you have another, I don't know, Terrastodon or something, right? Like
Yeah.
people are going to get rid of that as quickly as they can.
Would you always run stunt double over this?
I'd rather have stunt double than this. Yeah, this guarantees you get the thing.
Stunt double guarantees
This
you get
does
it.
nothing the turn it comes in, right?
Yeah.
And we know that that's not good in limited and 1v1 Magic, and you get a little bit more of a grace with that sort of thing in Commander. A little bit. You get more of a, I don't know, you get more room to do that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But I still think people are afraid of these effects, and they just end up always getting
I
removed.
think you're right. I included in this list because I tried to brew with it on a recent episode and was shocked to find out it was out of our podcast range.
I mean, that's good for like $1 now, or maybe
Yeah.
it'll probably even less than
I think
$1.
it's worth that.
Yeah, me too.
Big time.
Like I would throw it in decks and see if you ever get it out.
Yeah.
You put it on a hexproof creature and you're having a laugh. Basically,
There you go.
There you go. Yeah. So those are. Oh, there's more. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind. Here we go. Oh, you mentioned this one already.
Yeah, Beast Within got expensive. It got up to $4, but now it's going to be uncommon. It's pre-ordering for $3 still, but I think that'll drop immensely like
an uncommon.
Ghostly Prison.
Yep.
2 and a green, instant destroy target permanent. Its controller puts a 3/3 green beast creature token onto the battlefield. Green loves this effect. This is hard to achieve in green. It's not impossible, but
Yeah.
a 3-mana instant that does it, that gives him a pointless beast, who
Yeah.
cares?
I remember not understanding how good this card was when I first saw it, but it's amazing. It takes care of artifacts, enchantments, lands, planeswalkers, bigger creatures. Like, it's great.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm happy this is going to be cheaper.
Avatar of Woe got expensive.
How is that possible? Like,
I don't know.
Who? Anyways, Avatar of Woe is the 8 mana avatar for. It's a 6/5, and it says if there are 10 or more creature cards total in all graveyards, Avatar of Woe costs 6 less to cast, and it has fear, and it has tap, destroy target creature. It can't be regenerated. So a powerful creature.
Undeniably
no
a
question about
powerful effect. You're probably going to want to throw this in most black decks. Did I want to pay $4 for it? No.
No.
But do I want to pay $1 for it if it drops to $1?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I'll pay $1 for this.
Yeah, maybe. I'd be into that. Yeah, it's loves mill decks, that's for sure. And you don't even have to run the mill deck yourself as long as you're playing against one. You're fine. Oh yeah, here we go. This is one I was pretty stoked about. So Hallowed Burial was up at around $3, dropped down to $1 now. Definitely probably going to stick around there for a while.
One of the superior wraths.
Yeah, right? It's 3 and 2 white for a sorcery that says put all creatures on the bottom of their owner's libraries. Now, we can't tuck commanders anymore like we used to be able to,
No.
but this is still a great wrath. It
Great
gets around
wrath.
indestructibility and all that sort of stuff.
It gets
It's
around
really great.
indestructibility. All wraths get around Shroud and Hexproof.
It gets around the guy running the graveyard deck who wants to just pull all this stuff back again.
Can't do it.
That is a real pain in the butt for those guys. Carador hates this card.
And presumably, you're going to cast this medium to late in the game,
Mm-hmm.
and most people have ran out their fetches and evolving wilds and cracked them all. So there's not a ton of shuffle effects happening anymore.
Good
So
call.
you've probably already cast your Cultivate and your Search things. I mean, you might top deck one and shuffle it again, but there's a very good chance that a player you wrath this with will never ever see those creatures again.
That's an excellent point. Yep. Hallowed Burial, a great wrath, and now down and is now one of the cheapest wraths, which I love that.
I love it. 5 mana is a great price.
So get ready. You're going to see a lot more of these. Run sack outlets, right?
Gotta run them.
Run free sack outlets to get around this. Oh, yeah, this one's neat.
I included this not because I've ever thought about it before, but because I've never thought about it before. But what a crazy brew around! It used to be $250, which is a bit pricey for a card you don't know anything about.
It's kind of pricey for a card that like isn't thought about. Yeah, like it isn't played a lot.
So here's what it is: it's 4 green for an enchantment. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield, if you cast it from your hand, you may search your library for a creature card with the same total power and toughness and put it onto the battlefield. If you do, shuffle your library. So clones have a power and toughness. If you may search with the same total power and toughness, well, that's a good question then, because clones have 0/0 on the bottom. So I was gonna say a clone can always get a clone, but does it check on entering the battlefield? When it enters the battlefield. Okay, right. I figured it out.
Okay.
So the clone will enter with a power and toughness. That's the number you check.
Right.
Cool. Never mind. You
So
don't
it enters
check
the
0/0.
battle. Yeah, it enters the battlefield as a copy of. Something.
But this is a very powerful effect if you build your deck appropriately.
Yeah, it's definitely a build around, even in Commander.
If you do decide to use this, I would insist that for etiquette, you include a cheat sheet for yourself of all the creatures and what they are, so that you don't spend 20 minutes being like, okay, so this creature had a total power intelligence of 8. Okay, what does this one have? No. Does this one have 8? No. Does this one have 8? Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
One, right.
Be familiar with your deck.
Be familiar if you're going to do this,
because it's going to happen a lot, and it's going to take a while sometimes. Yeah. I agree.
Do us all a favor.
But Wild Pair is cool. It's one of the first cards I saw in Magic and was like, whoa, what a weird effect. I saw it in the Duels of the Planeswalkers, 2011. That one.
Cool.
Yeah, that was neat.
Explosive Vegetation. It shouldn't be $2, man. Bring that price down.
Should not be $2.
Search your library for 2 basic lands. Put them in a battlefield tapped for 4 mana. Love it.
It's $1 still pre-ordering for. I think you're going to definitely be finding this card for 50 cents.
It's in standard right now, and so people want a ton of
and
them.
It's an uncommon. This is going to get reprinted into the ground.
Drop that price.
Love it. Explosive Vegetation is great. Lastly, for this sort of category, we have Juniper Order Ranger, which again is a very good card.
It crept up to $2 in the past. 3 green-white for a human knight, 2/4. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 on it and Juniper Order Ranger. So in a token deck, in a +1/+1 counter deck, this card is a house.
Yeah, and it loves the Bant token / +1/+1 counters deck. It's just a staple in that deck.
Yeah, it's a for sure a linchpin. So
yeah. It's now back to being dirt cheap. It's an uncommon, so you're going to be able to pick this up very easily.
Yeah.
So those are the cards now that are sort of back within our grasp on the Commanders Brew. We're stoked about these new budget-ish style cards. A lot of them are just straight up now regular budget again. But there's a couple of cards in the set that are big money cards that this will affect the price of them and bring it down. We still probably won't be brewing with these cards on the show, but we just wanted to talk about them in the sort of context of Commander and how good they are and that sort of thing.
If you open one of these, you're probably going to keep it and throw it in a deck.
Exactly. First off is Berserk, a card we didn't even expect to get at all, I think, right? I think it's safe to say no one expected Berserk to be reprinted in the set.
Yeah, never thought about Berserk besides the early days. This was the first card I ever saw back in the olden days of this card is insane. A buddy of mine won a Berserk as a prize, like a raffle prize, and its value at the time was $20, and he was ecstatic.
Wow.
He was ecstatic. It went up to many more dollars.
I also, this is funny, but I also played with this card in one of the Duels of the Planeswalkers apps on my iPad when I first started playing Magic. Before I bought any cards, and I was like, oh yeah, this card's very good. This card's really good.
I would like to get a few copies.
Yeah. I'd be like, oh man, you got to play with this card if you're playing in these colors, I guess. Not knowing anything about it at all.
For those that don't know, it's a single green instant. Cast Berserk only before the combat damage step, so you can't sneak it in during an end step. Target creature gains trample and +X+O until the end of turn, where X is its power. At the beginning of the next end step, destroy that creature if it attacked this turn.
Oh, it's not even sacrifice? It's just destroy?
Yeah.
Wow. So there's some ways to even get around that if you really want to.
Or just double your power. So any Xenagod deck, any big green stompy deck, it doubles their power and trample for 1 green.
1 green. Sometimes it's just kill that player, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's instant, too.
Instant speed removal is the only way to really get around it.
Yeah, that's the only way. Who are you not blocking? Even if you are blocking?
Not even, doesn't matter.
Are you chump blocking this guy with a 1/1? Cool. I'm going to double his power and trample. Good night.
Wow, crazy. Yeah, Berserk. It's if you get it off in the right spot, it's great. And apparently they reprinted it for apparently there's a Legacy Infect deck that's been getting some play. So this one might be able to slot in there. It's pre-selling for $30, and it's a mythic rare. So if you get it, I mean, I don't know. Is it that good in Commander? I'd probably sell it. So. I don't think I'd hang on to it in Commander.
If a Legacy deck wants it, that means it'll probably go up.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah,
get rid of your Berserks. A Planeswalker. We never talk about Planeswalkers, even though there are a few that are budget these days. We have talked about some in the past. This one is really neat. I like Planeswalkers a lot.
The new Duretti.
Yeah, and I love Duretti. I love the first Duretti. One of my favorite planeswalkers for sure.
Yeah, Andy has a great Duretti deck. We all hate playing against it.
That's largely still mostly made up of precon stuff. That was a great precon.
Yeah.
With some tweaks, obviously. But so Duretti, ingenious iconoclast. Yeah. This is the foil that I've got up here. So the price is going to be wrong on this. But anyways, Duretti is a black and a red for a 3 loyalty planeswalker. His +1 is put a 1/1 colorless construct artifact creature with defender onto the battlefield. His -1 is you may sacrifice an artifact. If you do, destroy target artifact or creature. And his -6, his ultimate is -6. Choose target artifact card in a graveyard or artifact on the battlefield. Put 3 tokens that are copies of it onto the battlefield. What? If you do, what's it called there? Mere Battlesphere with that last ability.
Battlesphere, even Sol Ring would be excellent.
Yeah.
I haven't done my homework yet, but there's probably a couple of artifacts that, when copied in Commander, get exponentially better effects.
Yeah, there has to be.
I don't know what those are, but like having 4 of that artifact would be insane.
This, that being said, though, this isn't really a Commander card, unfortunately. I think the +1, well, half decent, is not like. It's got defender. So
it ain't gonna do anything.
If it didn't have defender, it would be fine, I think, because then you might want to get a bunch of little guys and maybe build that. I do like that it's a black planeswalker that deals with artifacts. That's pretty rare. You don't really get that a lot. The -1 is cool, but this is definitely pushed for other formats, right?
Yeah.
Like this is a 3 mana planeswalker with 3 loyalty that can kill something and or protect itself off the top. Like I think that's great.
Yeah,
but
it's
not really
a
Commander
3
card.
mana destroy target artifact or creature at the very worst.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And then maybe you get more value out of it later. I don't think that's terrible.
It's not terrible. It's not at all.
Yeah.
I just think with the way planeswalkers are treated in Commander, you're just not gonna.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it's definitely definitely a very good card, and it's like I don't know. The foil is it's currently out of stock. Anyways, whatever. It's probably like a $30 card. Why don't you read this one?
Kaya, Ghost Assassin.
Our other planeswalker.
Ghostbuster. 2 white, black. Planeswalker, Kaya. So she enters the battlefield with 5 loyalty counters, and for 0, you can exile Kaya, Ghost Assassin, or up to 1 target creature. Return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. At the beginning of your next upkeep, you lose 2 life. No plus ability. -1, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. -2, each opponent discards a card and you draw a card. So there's no real ultimate per se.
Right.
And there's no real plus ability
Right.
except for zeroing herself, and
Right.
she would re-enter with 5.
Yeah, she'll re-enter with 5 loyalty again.
During your next upkeep.
Yeah. So she disappears.
She vanishes.
She vanishes for that turn, but then she'll come back with 5. So that's how she protects herself, which
Yes.
is kind of neat, right?
But what is she protecting herself for?
Right. I think it's kind of ridiculous that they made a Ghost Assassin planeswalker that doesn't kill anything.
Yeah.
How do you make an assassin that doesn't kill something? The artifact dude kills something. How does she killed Brago?
Yeah.
Right? Like she should.
I guess the idea is maybe we're assuming that while she's gone, she's off killing a spirit somewhere.
I guess, yeah.
She's a ghost assassin, but not for this game. She's assassinating ghosts in another game.
It should be like she should have ability where like it really hoses spirits. You know, like all creatures with flying get -1/-1
yeah,
or something. You know,
or
like
something.
I don't know. But I guess that's too good. But anyways,
It's weird.
It's weird. It's definitely like good in those, you know, those Karlov decks or those, you know, those white-black draining style decks that you see around.
I'll take another effect that does that.
Sure, exactly. But really, I mean, for the price and everything, it's...
Do you think she's going to stay expensive?
Well, she's only about $14 there pre-selling. I think, yeah, Planeswalkers usually do. They tend to hold their price a little better. I don't know, man. What, you're going to make everyone discard a card and you draw a card? Like, that's pretty good. It's a little card advantage there in white and black, which I guess black has
Yeah.
card advantage, but
Sure.
I don't know. This it doesn't excite me, but I do love planeswalkers, and I do love that there's a new planeswalker. So I
Yes.
like that part of it.
A new character. That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
And I'm guessing she's the one that killed Brago, right?
oh
She
yeah,
has
it's
to
her
be.
in the art with her purple knife.
Right. Okay, and the last card, I think probably maybe
This is the one.
made the biggest splash.
There's a vintage or legacy, I don't know the difference, called Sneak and Show, and this is a key card in it.
Right.
Show and Tell, 2 and a blue, sorcery. Each player may put an artifact, creature, enchantment, or land card from his or her hand onto the battlefield. Wow. That's a massive ability.
Yeah.
In our format, I would very unlikely want to play this.
Yeah, because in a regular game, okay, this is going to get my Emrakul out, and I'm playing against a deck that is
Only
all
has
burn
spells,
spells or
yeah.
something, right?
Yeah.
So I'm good, and I've looked at their hand, and I know they don't have a counter spell, so whatever. That's how Vintage and Legacy works. But in Commander, it's going to be like, all right, show and tell. Oh, I'll put out my Ulamog. Ooh, great. Okay, they just put their Kozilek down. They put their Tracodon down, and now I don't have any more land.
Or they put, or they put
a Mirror Battlesphere out, and all their creatures got like counters from their, whatever, right? Like,
yeah, or I put my Nevinyrral's disc out. So like,
Yeah.
great, yeah,
yeah, exactly,
out
right.
of turn, so
Yeah.
you have less time to deal with it.
It's definitely a fun card in Commander,
Sure,
but it's again, it's like a $30 card.
This
was
one's
like a 50 or 60, right?
this one screams sell it.
Oh yeah,
If you get this card, sell it and turn it into a whole other deck.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like kind of all of those expensive cards are like that, eh? They're not
I think
really.
so. They were reprinted for other formats.
But that's kind of fun. That's kind of good. We get one of these, we basically just for sure sell it, and then get the other good cards that are now way cheaper, right?
Yeah.
So you sell your show and tell for 30 or whatever, probably at a buy list for like $20 or something, and then you can get probably a ghostly prison, a platinum angel, a couple birds of paradise.
Anyone with a good trade binder, I suspect, will have it divided into like formats. You'll have your standard section, you'll have your modern section, you'll have your legacy vintage section, you'll have your commander section. So I've got lots of cards in my commander section, and whenever I go to make a trade, like I'm going to put my show and tell, if I open one, I hope I do, I'm going to put it in my legacy vintage section. I'm not sure which. And if I find a player who wants one, if they've got a commander section, I'm going to clean it out.
Right. That's how you do it. And that's our like little review.
There you go, guys.
It's like as long as a normal episode. What am I talking about?
It turned out to be very long. But, give us some feedback on it. It's our first one we've ever done. If you liked it and would like us to continue to do more set review ones, please drop us a line. We're happy to. We also... We will not. We have no intention of interrupting our regularly scheduled podcasting schedule.
right,
so This is just bonus, right? So
Yep.
even if you don't like it, it's extra. Who cares?
It's extra. You know what I mean? No worries.
But we will. I will say. I will take some. If you got some good feedback on how to improve this episode, because it's our
Definitely,
first shot
yes.
out the gate.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear it. We love improving. We love fixing it up.
Yeah, exactly. Should we stick just to budget stuff? Do you want us to branch out more? I felt like we should cover it all for this first one and then see where we want to go with it. But yeah, that's the episode. And get at us on Twitter as per usual at Andy Hullbone,
At Shantabaris.
and we're at Commanders Brew. CommandersBrew.com. Find all the other stuff that we do, the video version of this podcast, and all that kind of stuff. So
Thanks, guys.
thanks everyone for listening to this one. And we'll see you guys with our next regular episode next week.
Bye.
Bye.